Bum butter dum. Howdy, welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. I'm Banjo Ben, your hairy host here on the site that teaches you how to play banjo and mandolin. This week is Guitar Week. Yes, I need a haircut, but you also need to learn how to use some hot guitar licks, and that's what I'm here to do. We're doing Pick a Lick. Now, I love this series because this is where we pick a very important lick and then we pick it apart. We learn all about it, all about how to use it. And by the time you're done with this lesson today, you're going to have this lick under your fingers and ready to wield at your next jam. Now, I would venture to say that the lick we're going to learn today might be the second most important and useful lick you can learn for bluegrass guitar. I'd say number one's the run, right? The G run. But if you'll notice, the lick that I started the lesson out with is a little bit different. Actually, there's a lot in common with the G run. We'll talk about that. But I want you to really get a grasp of how useful this lick is. And maybe you use it already, but I bet you that you don't use it in all the ways that we're going to talk about. It's great as a rhythm lick. Let me play you something. You'll hear what I'm talking about. Works great for transitions. Now, as you can see, that lick works well over all three chords, and actually more chords than that. And it works as just a filler lick while you're playing the chord, or also as a great leading transition lick. But it's not only for your rhythm, it's especially for your solo playing. We'll go back over that chord progression there, and I'll play the lick for you in various timings and with all kinds of different variations. You can hear how useful the lick is. Now, granted, I played that lick a whole lot more than I normally would if I was going to solo, but what you were able to hear is that it does sound good over that G chord, over that C chord, over that D chord, and then you probably also heard all the different variations, starting it at various times in the measure, ending it at other times, using it as a transition lick, and sometimes as an ending to the phrase. So, man, this is going to be a lot of fun. Let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the theory first because I want to pick this lick apart. Then we're going to talk about all kinds of variations, changing the notes, changing the timing, using it in waltzes, all kinds of things like that. Then we'll talk application. That's where it gets really fun because we'll take some real songs and we're going to learn how to use this lick today. If you're watching somewhere besides BanjoBenClark.com, I'd love to have you come on over as a Gold Pick member. Take advantage of this lesson and hundreds more. If you are watching on the site, scroll down. You'll see the rest of the lesson, the rhythm tracks, as well as the MP3s. Oh, those are the rhythm tracks, the tabs for what we're about to cover. Let's go. All right, folks, let's talk about the lick itself. I want to pick this thing apart, and that way you'll know the theory behind what you're doing when you use it. And then we'll get into actually using it. Let's just play the lick, see what it looks like on tab 2. The notes as we hear them are these. That's what we see there in measure 1. Now, most of the time that I play this lick, most of the time I'm going to use a series of hammer-ons and pull-offs to make it sound a little bit different, maybe swing the timing a bit. That's what we see in measure 3. Again. Now, whether you want to pull up or pull down, that's up to you. But these pull-offs and that hammer-on does help you play it a lot faster and maybe a little bit smoother. You just got to work on your strength with those ornaments. All right, so this lick can literally be used most anywhere, over all kinds of chords. We're going to get into that in just a bit, but I want to compare it to maybe what is the most popular lick for bluegrass guitar, and that's that Lester Flatt G run that you've all heard. And what I'd like to do is compare that lick with the lick that we're learning today, because there is a lot in common there. And what I want to do is talk about what they have in common and then also how they differ. And that's going to affect how and when we choose to use this thing. Now, as we compare those two licks side by side on paper, we see the G run first, at least one version there, right? Measure 5. And then, of course, compared to our lick. Now, how are they the same? Oh, man, there's a lot of things that are the same. First of all, they're both built from the pentatonic scale. If you don't know what the pentatonic scale is, you can learn that over on the site. But we've got these 5 notes in the scale that we're going to choose from. And both of these licks are built from that, but both of them have a little modification. Both of them are using a flat 3, this B flat note. So whenever we play the G lick, or the G run, we've got that flat 3 that brings in a little bit of the blues, right? We resolve it. Well, the same thing happens in our lick there in measure 7, which instead of getting the B flat down here, we're getting it up here on the 3rd fret. And instead of resolving up to the B natural, we're going to resolve back down to the A. That's pretty cool. So we have almost all the same notes here with these 2 licks. They just come in different orders, don't they? Now let's look at what else they have in common. What can you notice? Well, another thing we see is that they both end on the same note, don't they? They both end on the root, land on that root. They both land on that open G string. Now what does that mean for us? Well, it means that they're going to be a good intro to a song, to a solo. Many times our melody starts on that root note, so this would be a cool way to get there. But they would also work as wonderful endings, especially when we're wanting to make a statement over a big G chord. So yes, absolutely. You could use the lick that we're learning today in place of the G run. So in our rhythm, we might typically play that G run. We could easily slide this other one in. It takes up the same amount of time. Okay, so they both fit in well in our rhythm playing there, and they're going to both fit in well to finish out solos as well. And that brings me to another reason or another way that they're similar. They both take up that one measure, so you can have them kind of pairing off as buddies there. Now, how are they going to differ? Because in the ways that they differ, or in the major way that they differ, is going to determine maybe when we choose to use one, when we choose the other. Well, the one difference, besides just the general note order that I see, is how they start. We talked about how they both end the same, but they start a little different, don't they? So with our regular G run, we're going to start on that G note on the root. Whereas for our other lick, we're going to start on the D note, okay, on the dominant note. And what I would say about that is that our G run, being that it starts on the G note, is going to be more of a G chord statement, okay? It wouldn't sound right to play this G run over a C chord, even if you're playing out of the key of G. If you go to, say, 2 measures of G, then 2 measures of C, try to substitute a G run for that second measure of C. It wouldn't sound good, would it? Might could get by. Depends on how many people are in your band and what all they're playing. But if we substitute this other lick for that C chord, it's going to sound pretty good. Cool. Okay, so I think that we have more versatility with this lick that we're learning because we're starting on a D note, and that's not the root. So it's not making this huge statement right out of the box that I've got to be played over a G chord. It sounds really good over a D chord, of course, because you are using the root of what a D chord would be. But as we heard, it would sound great over a C chord. It would sound great over an E minor. Okay, so we've kind of got our hands and our brain around what this lick is, what it has in common with our regular old G run, and the things that are different. And I would venture to say that maybe there's definitely different ways to modify this. and create variations, maybe even more ways to do it with this lick than we'd have with the regular G run. That's what we're going to look at next. If you're watching here on the website, just scroll down to the next video lesson. We'll look at variations, then we'll look at applying this in our playing. If you're watching somewhere else, I'd love to have you on the website. You can join as a GoPick member, help me get a haircut, and have lots of fun. Don't forget to stop by the forum and say hello as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe.